The metal door clanged shut behind him, echoing through the cold gray hallway. For the first time in 15 years, Michael Hayes stepped outside the prison gates, a free man. The wind hit his face, sharp and cold, carrying with it the smell of rain and asphalt. He blinked into the morning light, clutching the small brown envelope they'd given him. A few dollars, his old wallet, and a worn-out photograph of a little girl smiling in a school uniform. He had gone into prison a father. He was coming out a stranger. Michael had been 28 when it happened, a small-town mechanic who made one terrible mistake. He'd gotten into a fight protecting a friend in a bar, one punch too many, and the man he hit never got back up. 15 years behind bars for manslaughter. He didn't blame anyone but himself. But what haunted him wasn't the sentence. It was the silence. His daughter Emily had stopped writing to him after his 5th year inside. At first he thought she was just angry. Then her letters never came back. He didn't even know if she'd ever forgiven him, or if she even remembered him at all. When the prison bus dropped him off in town, everything felt smaller. The buildings, the streets, even the people. He walked into a diner on the corner, the same one that used to be there before his life fell apart. The waitress, maybe in her 40s, kind eyes, poured him coffee without asking. "Fresh out?" she said gently. He nodded. "Yeah, you can tell." She smiled softly. "You've got that look." The one between lost and hopeful. He gave a small smile back. "I guess that's fair." They didn't talk much after that, but as he stirred his coffee, he looked out the window and froze. Across the street, under the awning of a bookstore, stood a young woman holding an umbrella. Her face was soft, familiar, with the same brown hair and blue eyes as the little girl in the photograph. Emily. His heart clenched. He wanted to run out there, call her name, hold her. But he didn't, because what if she turned away? What if she didn't want to see him? So he stayed where he was, hands trembling, watching her disappear into the crowd. That night, Michael found a bed in a halfway house. The room smelled of bleach and cheap soap, but it was warm and quiet, more than he'd had in years. He lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking of the little girl who used to call him Daddy. He remembered the birthday gifts he'd made her from inside prison. Small carvings, folded paper cranes, a bracelet made from threads. He'd sent them one by one every year. None were ever returned. Maybe she'd thrown them away. Maybe she never got them. Maybe she'd moved on, like everyone else. The next morning, Michael went back to the diner. The waitress smiled. "Back again?" He nodded. "Yeah, coffee's better than I remember." She poured him another cup. "You got plans?" He hesitated, trying to find someone. "Family?" He nodded. "My daughter." "Haven't seen her in 15 years. Her face softened. "You'll find her." "Maybe she's been waiting." He smiled weakly. "Maybe." When he left, he decided to start with the bookstore. It was the only lead he had. The little shop smelled like ink and rain. Behind the counter stood the same young woman he'd seen before. She looked up, polite smile. "Hi there, can I help you find something?" Michael froze. His throat went dry. I'm just looking," he stammered. She nodded. "Take your time." He wandered the aisles, pretending to browse, but really just listening. To her voice, her laugh, the rhythm of her words. She looked so much like her mother. When he finally turned to leave, she stopped him. "Sir," she said, holding out something small. "You dropped this." It was his old photograph, the one of her as a child. She looked down at it, then back at him. Her eyes narrowed. "Where did you get this?" His hands trembled. "It's you." A long silence. Then her expression changed. Confusion, disbelief, and then something deeper. "Who are you?" He swallowed hard. "My name's Michael Hayes." She stepped back, eyes wide. "Michael Hayes? My father's name was Michael Hayes." He nodded slowly. "I know." Tears filled her eyes before she even realized it. You can't be." "I am," he said quietly, "and I don't expect you to believe me. I just needed to see you once, to know you were okay." Her voice trembled. You killed someone." "Yes." His voice cracked. "And I've lived with that every single day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted to give you something." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small paper crane, old and yellowed with time. I made this for you on your 10th birthday. You used to love them. Emily stared at it, silent as tears slipped down her cheeks. They stood there for what felt like forever. The only sound was the rain against the window and the quiet ticking of a clock on the wall. Finally, she whispered, "Why now?" "Because," he said softly, 15 years ago, I lost everything. But I never stopped being your father. I thought maybe you should have something from me that isn't pain." She looked at the little paper crane again, creased, delicate, imperfect. And for the first time, she didn't see a monster. She saw a man who'd paid for his mistakes, a man who had suffered and still carried love in his hands. A few days later, Emily showed up at the diner. Michael was sitting at the same table, stirring his coffee. She sat across from him. "You still take too much sugar," she said softly. He looked up, surprised, then smiled. "You remember that?" She nodded. "I remember everything." For a while, they just talked. About books, about her job, about the years between them. There was pain in every word, but there was also something new. A fragile thread of hope weaving itself between them. When they left the diner, she hugged him. It was hesitant, shaky, but real. "I can't promise I'll forget," she said quietly, "but maybe I can try to forgive." He smiled, his eyes glassy with tears. "That's more than I ever hoped for." Months passed. Michael got a small job fixing engines at a garage nearby. Emily started visiting him every Sunday. Sometimes they'd talk for hours, sometimes they'd just sit in silence. And one Christmas morning, she handed him a small box wrapped in brown paper. Inside was a brand new wristwatch. He looked at it, puzzled. "It's beautiful." "But why?" She smiled softly. "Because time is all we really have now." "Don't waste it." He laughed quietly, slipping it on his wrist. "Guess the prisoner finally got his gift, huh?" She smiled. "No, Dad. You gave it first." The clock in the diner ticked softly as they sat together by the window, watching the snow fall. Two broken souls learning how to move forward. Because sometimes, the most precious gift a prisoner can give isn't freedom, it's forgiveness. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more emotional stories like this.